Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the SLB Show. We are back after an international hiatus for us as we all returned. I got the flu. I was really ill, so there was no podcast anyway going to be last week, and it wasn't happening again. But it's just me and Louis. Louis sitting in a festive Christmas jumper. I probably should go and join him, but I'll save that for the next show we do. But Louis, how are you?
I'm very good, thank you. Let's get into it.
Well, yeah, lots to talk about. Big, busy weekend. Lots of kind of discussion points. Let's start on a good one first. Eagles, the double swoop. Newcastle Eagles looking really good this week, getting the win firstly against Sheffield, short-handed, and then they added in Hammond against the Gladiators. Louis Mark Stewart said, which I'm annoyed at, the pre-game interviews on DAZN did not go out because there was an error with them or an issue with them, but it was probably one of the best chats with Mark Stewart. He's actually really, really good to talk to in a pre-game interview. But asked him the question whether or not any of the players who are injured and the reason for him being short-handed, if any of them were near return, and his answer was no one is really near return. So they're going to be short-handed for a while, which they beat Sheffield, they beat the Gladiators, 2 close games. It's also, if you ever look at the SLB website, Marco Anthony is no longer listed on the roster at all. He was there at PlaySport on Sunday, so he's obviously still part of the team, but interesting to see what's going to happen at Newcastle. But Louis, tremendous week for Newcastle, who really seem to be kind of getting a bit of momentum.
Yeah, to quote Dave, addition by subtraction, obviously. But yeah, I mean, they dug in this week. They played really good defense against Sheffield, particularly against Chapman, who I think they did a really good job on, with their kind of physicality and level of strength defensively. But yeah, I mean, it's good to see my new favorite Kande get on the court and do some good things. But
so yeah, let's mention Kande. So he on Sunday against the Gladiators, he played 17 minutes, didn't get a point, only took 1 shot, only got 1 rebound, 1 assist, had a turnover and a steal. But the impact, when you look at the plus minus, was plus 20 in 17 minutes.
See, that's a Kande stat line. But what we saw against Sheffield, like his point of attack defense, he's basic. I kind of think this might be quite audacious to say, but I think he's probably, in like the upper thirds of individual defenders in the league, probably. It's quite.
You know what? He does play they threw him a lot at Ragsdale at different points. They threw him at Fraser Malcolm at times. And those two did get scores. But he forced an extra pass or didn't give them space. I think the first 3 the Gladiators hit was the first time that Ragsdale had a bit of space. Like that through that first kind of quarter, it was really tough for them. But yeah, keep going, Kande. Give us some more on him.
Yeah, but it's kind of his wing size because he's like 6'4", 6'5", but he's also quite quick laterally. So against Chapman, like when he was put in the starting lineup against Sharks, which is kind of mad, but they put him on Chapman and he did a good job of kind of disrupting like his flow. It's tough because he's big for a guard to kind of deal with as a defender. So that's his kind of thing. And he obviously didn't score any points against Caledonia, but he's been better at hitting his 3-point attempts. But the thing with kind of Newcastle is that they are so kind of static, so having a guy that doesn't force anything is kind of more team orientated, that I feel like that just kind of aids the flow of their team, so basically take it away, Grant.
Big up Kande. Another obviously big week from Macio Jack. We just chatted off air, I suppose, or off record about how he's returned to the league, leveled up. I've only got a stat line here. He played 37 minutes, basically 26 points, 12 rebounds, double, 2 assists. He went to the free throw line, took 15 free throw attempts, missed 2, which was a surprise, to be honest. But Macio Jackson's going to Newcastle. So that was his game stat. Oh, that was obviously the trophy. So first game of the trophy for them as well in that. But yeah, he's really leveled up since we've seen him last. Like he was Cheshire, he was known for just the corner three. Like that, like the 3-ball Macio Jack. And we talked about, I was a big fan of Macio Jack 2.0. What's this version? Are we going 3.0, 4.0? Do you mean like he obviously had that season in Europe?
It's a new player, man.
It's a new player.
It's basically a new player, and he's been playing a lot of guards. Like
he handled the ball a lot. Handling
the ball a lot. Well, because they kind of need to, because they haven't really got many guards on their roster, as we alluded to in previous episodes.
We have done,
but he just looks like a completely different player. Like you were saying at Cheshire, he was spotting up a lot. He wasn't asked to create because he had the Quincy, etc. And now he's clearly been in the gym. To start off, he's been in the gym, he's been working. It's his kind of different level of ability to attack the rim that's kind of been a big differentiator, as a kind of like a slasher, because he's a lot more physical now, and he's finishing difficult kind of chances. Like I was watching him against that Greek team in the ENBL. Like he's scoring against like proper like big defenders, right? So he's just big up.
And is this where
changed? So
yeah, is this where for Newcastle? Okay, injuries, yes. Marco Anthony out, Josh Ward-Hibbert, who we kind of define as their glue guy. Dion Hammond played this game against the Gladiators. No Okafor, but is this Macio Jack's team? Like, is he the franchise player?
Definitely.
So then the question goes, when we think of Newcastle the last few years, is obviously we called them the Tres Amigos and that kind of stuff. And okay, last year it transpired to be a Micah Koru team. This is now Macio Jack's team, isn't it?
Oh, unequivocally. Yeah, definitely. Him and Rayshon Taylor when he's on court and scoring, of course.
So yeah, big up Newcastle. It's going to be interesting to see what they do. Obviously, we were saying about Marco Anthony not being on the listed roster. That frees up an import slot. Mark kind of said about how he's really enjoying what his roster gives him. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. Like, is there a position they need to strengthen? Do they need another wing player? Mitch Clark had a good game on, I suppose, both games. He was good against.
Yeah, that was
good box scoring. Good box scoring Friday. Great game on Sunday as well. And you go, do they need a guard? Like Defoe's back playing. Emmanuel Canway's now getting court time. Like, are they just going to roll with the shortened rotation, rely on some of the guys playing 30 plus minutes? Is that going to be the way to go?
No, I mean, I suppose. Obviously, they've got Gus Okafor to come back, which, because it's kind of been a little bit weird, because obviously they've been playing Canway and Defoe at the 5 spot. So that'd be a question mark, you'd think. But with Okafor coming back and the way they like to play kind of more small ball, that gives another body at the 5 spot. So, I mean, they have so many wings. Like the spot you'd see is guard, I'd think, especially with how they play in kind of like the little amount of ball movement. Maybe a guard would aid them in that respect. So
fair. Maybe.
I don't know.
Definitely a hot week for the Eagles. Hey, let's talk. We've got loads of kind of things to talk about, so we're going to race through a few of them. Mervin James is back in playing for Sheffield. A big return, a big player last season at Surrey, led the league in scoring, for example. The big question mark was how would they integrate him into the team, into the roster. How many minutes did he play again? I've just closed it down. He played 10 minutes. But how should, and obviously Sheffield didn't get the win, he was scoreless. Only an index a -4 is never good. But how do Sheffield integrate Mervin James into this lineup?
I mean, you're just going to have to stagger him, I think. Like, so how they played him on Friday, they just got him in a short corner at ISO, like in Surrey, like how we played in Surrey. If you've got Chapman, Prentice to come back, Dirk, you don't want to be going to Mervin James ISO short corner. I think that's kind of a waste. You want players that kind of fit more into that kind of lineup as kind of off-ball guys. Mervin, we'll see whether he kind of adapts to that. But I think bench lineups, have Mervin in there, absolutely kill bench lineups, that'd be really valuable. That'd be a point of difference, because if you have Mervin scoring against, I don't know, Flynn Bournemouth, Rafe, that's going to be tough. So they just got to be smart with it. If you try to stack all the best players on the same lineup, it's going to be difficult to fit, I feel. So
they have got such a deep roster. When or if everyone's available, we've yet to obviously see that throughout the season. We've obviously seen Prentice now been out for a couple of weeks, but it's I suppose that's where Atiba earns his cash, and getting all those players. Obviously, Nick Cairn seems to be, if Sheffield struggled, they try and get the ball to Nick Cairn and just get him going.
Yeah.
He obviously took 16 field goal attempts against the Eagles. Maybe that's not what they need when Coutinho's only taking 2. Like, could he get him more 3-ball attempts? Because obviously a good 3-ball shooter. More shots for Will Lee only 7 shots, Dirk Williams only 8 shots. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, is there a way that Sharks can share that ball better?
Yeah, I mean, in that game, they just struggle to create anything. It's like Nick Comer's kind of the locksmith to generate any points, really.
Yeah.
So they kind of had to rely on him, but obviously, as you say, the flip side to relying on him like that, if he's not in the mindset of the game previous, where he got, I think, like 7 assists, he can be very, ball stoppy, so yeah, just as you say, basically. So
definitely, I'm curious to see how Sheffield integrate him back, especially when you add in Prentice. We talk about this being like, have they got too much talent? I don't think they do, because when you look at Lions, they're able to make that amount of talent work.
Yeah.
Okay, it's different level, potentially different level talent. But really curious. And I suppose it's where the team has suffered is, like, guys have been out for so long. Some of the guys, like William Lee, started the season a bit. He started the season injured, didn't he? Or was like short preseason. Prentice Chapman was out. Prentice is now out. Like, yeah, it's going to be one to watch. And I suppose Sheffield's main aim right now is win as many games as you can, but they'll be dangerous come cup competitions.
If once we get to the end of the season and they figured out the rotation, that, I mean, just imagine a team where you have a guy like Nick Kern and Mervin James to come into lineups, like bench lineups, and just score on bench units. It's going to be tough. So yeah,
absolutely. All right, moving on. Let's talk about the Gladiators. They've made some changes. We actually looked at this, you and I, going back and forth a wee bit, who's made the most changes this season so far. We came to the conclusion it was Leicester with 5 players changes or something like that. But so we'll do a thing about that if more and more changes happen. But Gladiators, Andrew Gordon, who was recently added, has gone. They cited a medical issue. I think there was something to do with his medical he'd done and had something that flagged up after that. But they added LJ Bryan Jr. and Malcolm Delpeche. So obviously we all know Malcolm Delpeche. He had a knee injury at Eagles last year. They were a big fan of him last year, and he obviously played his first game for a number of months on Sunday. Looked ring rusty, which is fair enough. But they've added in American LJ Bryan. I think he's about 6'8", 6'9", big man. Started the season in Czechia. Team in Czechia changed their coach, released a lot of players. So he was available. Gladiators swooped into him. What do you think of him, Louis?
Yeah, I feel like it's an interesting direction to take, because it's kind of more in the Andrew Gordon mold versus what they have with Kevin Allen, which will be a question later. But more so kind of a more athletic kind of rim finisher kind of guy that's not going to take up too many touches in the post per se, like a Kevin Allen, but it's going to be more mobile, more versatile offensively, which is like the previous game where they had Andrew Gordon and no Kevin Allen. I felt like that kind of made the offense work better, without that kind of sticking point down low. So yeah, it's just gonna make their offense more flowing, allow the other guys more touches, etc., and defensively, more mobile, more vertically athletic. So defensively, you should probably see an uptick. I'd assume. And then obviously, yeah, go on.
Yeah, I was just going to say his stat line for his first game, just under 22 minutes, 7 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, a turnover. But it felt like players around him was able to flow a wee bit more. Kel Jimenez obviously had a career game. Ragsdale got 19, but Fraser Malcolm getting 14 points as well. Like, it felt a lot more like a team offense, and the ball didn't have to get stuck inside, or it felt like, even though Gladiators were massively short-handed, and like Gladiators even had like Nino Safa, 15-year-old guard.
I've liked him. I've watched him. I've liked him. But continue.
Yeah, apparently high things expected of him. Name to watch out for. He's supposed to be highly regarded in the youth systems of British basketball. But Nino Safa was on the bench as well, and it was like, that'd be quite cool if a 15-year-old and whatnot got some court time, but not to be. But adding in LJ Bryant, I'm curious to see what happens next. Like, Gladiators again lost by 3. Like, genuinely, it feels like every game they're in every game. They never took the lead against Newcastle, kept going down by 14, bringing it back, down by 14, bringing it back. And I suppose you'd say that the Eagles roster is a little bit more settled because they've maybe played more games. Is that 8? Like, even Hammond's been in a number of weeks. LJ Brown only arrived this week. Delpeche only arrived this week. I suppose there's lots of positives, there for Johnny Bunyan.
There's a lot of positives. I mean, you didn't have Ethan Wright.
No.
Didn't have Kevin Allen. Yeah, Cole Jimenez scoring how many points?
23. And no Ryan Holland either.
It's got to be no Ryan Holland, so it's going to be tough. But it's about, the next step, once everyone's back healthy, so.
Absolutely.
It's got to be positive.
And so I suppose the thing is there more to come? Obviously, Kevin Allen's didn't play the Leicester game, wasn't at the game on Sunday. You can speculate all we want if he's in, out, shake it all about. But the general feel from people was that the Gladiators actually looked pretty good on Sunday. So I'll be interested to see what happens over the coming weeks. But yeah, Gladiators making additions, could be more to come. Coach Bunyan, I think, was quite looking forward to the trophy for a little bit of respite from the league standings. And I think he's just getting a little bit frustrated with a few of the games that he feels they should have got. Like, they are playing better than they were last season. They should get more than the amount of wins they got last season. Like, do you not agree?
They'll come.
Like, it feels like they'll come. All right, let's talk about. We'll frame it around the Leicester and Cheshire game. Quite a few different storylines from that one. But the upturn in Leicester in recent games has been really interesting to watch. Again, we've said about how they've made a lot of changes this year to their roster. Aycock came and went. They've added Mark Loving. They're now sitting at 5-5. But a lot of those defeats were they 0-3 to start the season? I think they were. Maybe 0-4 even. Are Leicester the team that come crunch time, like winning in Cheshire as well? Like, Cheshire have, I think, played 7 home games this season so far, won 5. The other one they lost, it was a blowout defeat to the London Lions. But Leicester winning on Sunday by even a point, and the manner they won, we'll talk about that as well. But Leicester winning at Cheshire, I think, is a massive deal for how this season's going to play out.
I mean, like, no one's really won at Leicester aside from Lions, so like immediately off the bat, that's one kind of sticking point. But like, as you say, with all the new additions, Mark Loving, I really liked the addition of Don Carey, who I already knew previously. Raekwon Battle, I mean, he was like an NBA draft prospect. These types of kind of smart, opportunistic acquisitions mid-season are the types of things that kind of can change a season, and obviously that's kind of what we're seeing. I feel like, they're definitely going to be a top half team now, with all the new additions. So,
and obviously we kind of joked about the roster of at the start of the season: Mike Mitchell Jr., Denzel Mahoney, Duke Shelton,
Johnny O'Neill, who never came,
Johnny O'Neill, who is playing G League. It feels like the players they've replaced them with, obviously, like Menzies has come in, Battle, Mark Loving, Donald Carey are all improvements. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not as if you feel like they've just hit the same level of player. Like, they've come in and making a change.
Yeah, much better. Much better. These types of players are, sometimes you just got to be smart and, keep an eye out, because these players aren't really available at the beginning of the season, so I mean, Rob's kind of turned it around. So,
and I suppose does that maybe say more about the price some players maybe charge that they're trying to look for at the start of the season or pre-season in the summer, compared to obviously when the season starts? They just want games. They want to have that take. They want to have that season on synergy or whatever, because if they don't, then that impacts future jobs. So is that the case where Rob seems to be quite clever at this time of seasons and bringing in players, but does that say maybe more about what the market's like in the summer, or does that maybe say Rob's recruitment's got to get better in the summer?
I mean, that's a good question.
Or has it just been unlucky as well? Like Denzel Mahoney was a G League player, obviously hasn't played for a few years. I think you and I both thought Mike Mitchell Jr. would have done a little bit better.
Nah,
Not
me. But
I like, and obviously Johnny O'Neill. It was kind of like we felt fundamental to the.
Yeah, Johnny O'Neill felt like the one beast that they really needed to, get in, and he didn't turn up and just scored 20 points in the G League. So clearly would have been good. But now they've got Mark Loving.
Clearly would have worked. But yeah, maybe Mark Loving, they brought him back. But on that game, we obviously saw I suppose not the nicest of end scenes in that game. Players and officials and coaches having to be pulled apart. Lots of pointing fingers. Lots of probably foul language, argy-bargy. And I suppose we don't want that in our game at all. There's been a lot of chat about the referees and just even recent games. And the question seems to be, when are we getting the FIBA level refs back? Because we were told that there was a post in the FIBA statement saying they were allowed to referee again, and the expectation was that would just follow suit maybe after international break. That's not happened. I'm not sure if Mark Stuto got teched on Sunday. Johnny Bunyan certainly did. There was a bench tech in. Did Lloyd get a tech? I think Lloyd got a tech against Cheshire on Thursday. If not, sorry, Lloyd Gardner. But there seems to be a lot of frustration from coaches to officials.
I mean, I'm not sure.
And I think that's the general vibe. There's a lot of mistakes happening. You had the situation on Sunday at the Cheshire-Leicester game where even Dan Routledge was confused with what was about to happen. We had on Sunday a moment where the referees had awarded an and one for a layup that there was definitely a foul. I think it was on Kyle Jimenez. And they called it basket good. And I was like, was it a goaltend? Did someone pull the rim? And the replay was like, there was not like, I'm glad that they showed the replay because it allowed us to clearly see, well, no, like, hopefully they correct that. And I think I said that in the broadcast. It was like, let's hope they get this correct because it's not going to be good. And luckily the refs saw it. And I wonder if the table went, that didn't go in. And a lot I think the table at the games at the Gladiators did have done like FIBA Europe Cup or Euro Cup for the women last couple of years. So they know the standards or whatnot. But that's not good that initially the refs came together and went, yeah, basket, good. Two refs said, yeah, that went in. I said, no. So what do we need to see happen? Like, the question mark is, why are we not hearing, why aren't the refs back? Why is there so much frustration at games from fans, from coaches, from players? Like, what is breaking down?
That's the thing that we aren't privy to. Obviously there are things happening behind closed doors, I hope, that are kind of in the direction of getting a resolution. But these are the things that we don't know about, and all we can do is hope that they get to that resolution, to be perfectly honest, because some of the ref performances recently haven't been good. Like even the Sheffield game, I thought there were some bad missed calls. You know, there were some baffling kind of decisions going on. Not to rag on the refs, obviously, who are doing, you know, they're short-handed and they've had to fill in, but you know, we just kind of need a better, yeah.
And is this
Need him
where we
back.
need to look to almost hold our game? And I use these words in our Discord, hold our game to kind of a higher standard as media people, as fans, as coaches, as players, as referees, as owners, as volunteers, as fans, what also, because if we want the best for our game, and if the product, like Sunday's scenes at Cheshire isn't what we want to see. And actually, I thought the referees did a good job at trying to calm that situation down and pushing players apart and separating them and whatnot, and did that aspect pretty well. But it's how we had to even get to those stages that you go, okay, what is happening in the game that we're not getting it right? Like, there's a lot of frustration. You see it with every coach this season, frustrated it. Is it because they're a lesser qualification? Potentially. Like, they don't seem as able to interact with the coaches. Like, I think that was, I kept hearing Johnny Bunyan ask how. Like, he won't tell me what the foul is. And that's where coaches need that dialogue with referees to understand calls. Players need that dialogue. It feels like the refs made that situation at the end of the Cheshire game on themselves really difficult by ejecting players or giving someone an unsportsmanlike, like almost double teching them when someone had already filled out the game. Like, it became messy. Like, we've talked in the past about giving the officials action replay, but it feels like that situation's miles off, which may be good, maybe bad, but it feels, what's the right way I'm thinking of? Like, it feels like we need to get something right before we implement the tech to even give them a chance to help.
Yeah, that'd be like putting a band-aid over a massive wound.
Like
The ref like the on-court performance isn't good enough. Like at giving them action replay that they can only use once per game. That's not going to sort out
the refs
10.
can choose to go to it more. The teams get one review.
Okay.
Normally is how that works.
But basically the point stands.
Yeah, no, it does. Because then how often in that would referees go, we're not sure, we're going to go check replay?
Could you imagine? 10 times per game.
It's just going to become a reliance, isn't it? I just want to see things improve. We talk about SLB obviously now having FIBA's approval and whatnot to continue what's happening. But this is one of the areas we need to level up. Like, our officiating and behavior at games needs to get better.
Yeah.
Like, I'm always surprised, like, okay, at PlaySport, there's security there. I'm sure at Eagles, there's external security there as well. Maybe at Leicester as well, but not many others have it. Is this what we need to, like, not protect referees as such, but like fans getting on the court or whatnot? Does there need to be that venue standard there as well? That's another discussion point. Like, just professionalize our game more and take it away from, like, here, everyone who volunteers in our sport's amazing. Like, anyone who gives up their time to do anything is amazing. But is it time that we try and think, you know what, we're wanting to be a professional league, like, we need to professionalize every aspect of it?
Yeah, it's just looking at minimum standards across even other leagues, like of our standard. I mean, you would not see events like that happening in France, like Pro B, even probably NM1. They would have proper security, etc. You know, so it's just getting those minimum standards up to like a serviceable professional league level. Really, that's what it's about. So.
And I suppose our talent on the court, you can, obviously we know you can kind of roughly work out from the rules that the league published how much some rosters are spending. But what's that at the expense of?
Yeah.
Like, we need to, and hopefully that's something that we see happening. Like, really genuinely hope that something happens about it, because it's going to take something bad happening before. Do you know what I mean? I feel
Yeah.
like games are descending into a bit of chaos.
I mean,
Like the scene,
we've already had some pretty bad events happen this season,
like,
so
yeah, and you just, if you've got security on site, they'll see that tensions are high. They'll step on the court at the end of the game. The buzzer goes up. They're there quicker. Do you know what I mean? Like there's wee things like that. Like,
especially in Cheshire.
and yeah, and and you wonder. It's been a discussion point in our Discord. Is it always just at Cheshire? And the answer is no. It's not always just at Cheshire.
It feels like it, but it's not.
It feels like a lot of the stuff happens at Cheshire, and is it because the way the arena's set up, like could like fans are quite close behind the benches. Like you've heard of ugly scenes between fans, like reporting stuff. And is this just taking responsibility to control what's happening, professionalize the game just that little bit more? Like our game should be fun to go to, and yeah.
So from my perspective, it's kind of like a byproduct of their kind of success a little bit, because they are so salty, to big you up, because they are so good at like kind of engendering the crowd and kind of hyping it up.
Yeah.
It gets to like a fever pitch in there basically every game, and as you say, alongside the crowd being so tightly packed, it creates the atmosphere for these types of events happening. So basically gets security. That's what we say.
But yeah, and I wonder as well, going back to a little bit in refs, and this is maybe a way down the line, we've not only got tech, but it's some games you can hear what the referees' actually calls are. Like they come on and, do you know what I mean? Like they're mic'd up as such. Like I sometimes feel like, would that be cool to actually know what they've seen and why? Kind of what rugby's going towards. Like they're
what, like a permanent like mic?
Not
like
well,
in rugby.
but like if there's like a TMO review, they explain the call. So not saying they're permanently mic'd up or whatnot.
Yeah, that'd be mad.
You don't want to hear what some of the stuff people say, no doubt, on court. But then if it's explaining like a technical, when they go to the table for like 2-3 minutes and have a discussion, like what's actually happening.
Yeah, I mean that'd be cool. That'd be the more transparent than what we get. And then, let's say in a Cheshire, it make fans less raucous than what they are. So that would help in that standpoint. But yeah, go on.
All right. No, let's move on from that, because it is a difficult subject. Hopefully we can get, whatever the reason is that referees, our top level referees, aren't returning to officiating the league. You hope those discussions are going on in the background, because it feels like the rosters or the players we've got in our league now need our best referees in our league to be there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
again,
I mean the standard's so high now. So Athletic, they need the better refs. It's just too tough for them.
Yeah, and it's, you know what? I think a lot of the refs, they're doing the best that they can. There's some games where I'm watching calls, I'm like, that's not a bad call. They've just got it right. Like there's a few, but then there's a few howlers, and you're like, oh, come on. Like, talk to each other.
This is nothing on the refs. I mean, again, they are standing instead of the FIBA refs that obviously for some reason or another can't ref, but they're trying their best. They're just under prepped basically.
Yeah, and I really hope we get to a stage where we get, like, it feels like, I don't know how many weeks now it's been since we had almost update from FIBA or about what's happening. I thought we'd maybe get something at the end of the international windows. Obviously, GB going 1-1. You saw obviously the GB media team saying that the page was going dormant for a while. So I wondered if something was going to come out from, whether it's Basketball England, SLB, FIBA. Do you know what I mean? Like, for what is happening next? Because obviously, well, we've not mentioned it yet. May as well mention it now. Obviously, Marshall Glickman resigning from as a director of the GBBL league, and we'd obviously been privy to some things on that we don't really can't really say yet on, and a lot of the ideas were farcical, but
Yeah.
like farcical. Yeah. And that's getting kiboshed, and it's like, okay, well, what's happening with that old license agreement? Like, that's like technically we've got a league that now doesn't have any teams, doesn't have any venues, doesn't now have even a director listed, still technically holds a license from next summer.
Yeah. I mean, it's confusing.
Like,
I mean, what's even happening with the BBF?
Wait, what even happening with the BBF?
Liquidation, so what's going on? Like, what's going to happen with the next window? Is it going to be Basketball England? Like, what's going on?
Yeah. So a lot, and I suppose all this view thing when it comes to like referees, what's happening with FIBA and the BBF, what's happening with GBBL, what's happening with venues and teams, like for how much money teams are clearly spending on their roster. Like, it feels like there's a lot in the background that's just almost ticking by rather than like growth. Do you know what I mean? Like, it feels like,
what you mean.
Looking around all the venues the last couple of weeks, it feels like all clubs now it feels like attendance numbers are up. Like, watching some of the games, it feels like we're trending back in a good direction. So hopefully all the off-court stuff that your general punter doesn't really engage with, but people like you and I are like, what's happening? Yeah, hopefully we find out what's happening. But let's move on to something a little bit different. We've not talked about this yet at all. A little bit of a discussion around MVP. All right. Obviously, this kind of comes out as well. I think a lot of people not assumed, but when you saw the early season performances of someone like a Joel Scott, he was doing it both across Eurocup and obviously in the SLB as well. But with him now being ruled out for the next 10 to 12 weeks, a massive loss for London, because at times early in the season it felt like he was the only real player ticking. He's now out for a lengthy period of time. Probably was the early favourite for MVP.
Indeed.
But which players now are in that early discussion? Are we? I've not seen anyone else talk about early discussions on MVP. If there has been, sorry.
Well, we're at the halfway point, so
yeah, we're almost basically.
It's the time. Why not?
Almost the time. Almost the time. But I'm going to throw two names out to you. We can agree, disagree, but I know you're a huge Chapman the third fan.
Big up, Chapman.
You're good friends with him. But also, we talked about him earlier on, but Macio Jack. Like, are those two guys, we could go through the teams as well. Is there any contenders, or who would it be from each team? But are those two, like, I know we might get people saying, oh, but what about this person? What about this person? What about this person? But if you look at Sheffield now 7-5, joint top of the league with Bristol, I would say Bristol are the definition of playing proper team basketball. I know you're quite high on Will Yoakum maybe being the most, I'm going to use the word efficient. Is that fair? But yeah, yes. You go.
What was I going for?
I don't know. You made a yawn. No, but I'm saying, like, if we go through teams, we look at London. I'm interested to see who is their next guy to stand up and kind of put his head up above the parapet.
How long is Shavar Reynolds going to be out for?
Well, that's another question. Lions are actually pretty battered by injury.
But it's going to be Magusti in a time being. He hasn't really, oddly enough, because obviously he's a Eurocup player, he's performing Eurocup. Yeah. But oddly enough, he hasn't really looked
destructive.
As out and out Joel Scotty to paraphrase in the SLB. But he's the next kind of like usage guy in terms of usage and possessions, etc. So
if we look at Sheffield, we're saying Chapman.
Yeah, Chapman.
You love Chapman, don't you?
There's photographic evidence, So.
I posted that pictures up in your. But no,
why post that?
Why is Chapman on his return now looking to be like the Chapman of last season?
Because he's too good, bro. He's too good.
Hopefully you're going to give me more than just a 10-word answer.
Too good. 2 words. That's it. Too good, bro. Too good, bro. But okay, to actually be serious and not be stupid, he's just rim pressure is vital, and he is a kind of like a bigger guard in our league. So that makes it really difficult for guys to kind of stick on him. And as I was saying about kind of why he struggled in Newcastle, is that he really does use his physicality to kind of separate against players, especially at the rim and in terms of like his kind of in between game, if he ever gets to that. So that's kind of a separation point in terms of other guards in the league. But it's his ability to score from deep, be so dynamic downhill, be so quick and physical around the rim. And then obviously as a guard, getting to the rim, drawing in the defense, and his ability to kind of make passes out of that is kind of like, yeah, he's just very, really good.
And it's probably now that Prentice is injured, we're seeing the return of him properly. Do you know what I mean? Like it's his team. He's taking the ball. We look at the Flyers. I think everyone got them wrong pre-season. Andreas has done a brilliant job at recruiting players that fit an identity he wants.
That's the key thing.
As well, Joachim, not the most important part because he's not.
No.
But is he the one that you could see go and be the guy? Along with maybe, I see a Cam Holden, but...
Well, he's not really the guy per se, because what he does is be so efficient off ball, which is what I tweeted about. Be so effective, close out situations, etc. Be a slasher, finish around the rim, and shoot the ball really well. But, in terms of being really, really, really bloody efficient at doing that, in terms of value adding, that's really good. I really like Joe Anderson. Like his kind of his stats don't really show it too well, but it's just his ability to penetrate and just make smart plays. And
I suppose really as a rookie pro as well.
Yeah, as a rookie pro, like he's really smart. I just really like his game. I think it really makes him tick offensively, especially. So
yeah, I 100% agree with that. All right, Phoenix. I think this one a hard one to say who's like protect. Like,
I know who I'd pick.
Who are you picking then? Robinson?
Pat Robinson, obviously. Yeah.
Okay, so
rim dynamism, rim pressure. Look, if you can generate shots at the rim, that is the most efficient shot you can get in basketball. Shots at the rim, and what it does for the rest of the team, in terms of creating that advantage for others. That is just endlessly valuable. So, and he's putting up a lot of buckets, to say the least. So,
you just wonder how he ended up in Ireland. Like,
I want to know, because, again, as I said, his college stats were good, and he was on a winning college team. I don't understand how he ended up in Lithuania second tier. I don't understand it. But anyway, go on.
Yeah, he's averaging 17 points a game for them, 4 assists as well, a steal. Like he's really, he's been a really good. You're fine, and 4 rebounds a game as well. Like he's kind of. Everyone thought it would be LaQuincy's team this year as such, but he's really shown that whether he's coming off the bench or starting, really impressed with him.
Indeed.
Manchester, quickly, let's run through the rest of them. Manchester, still hard. I'd still say it's Kayem Cleary's team. Like when Kayem plays well, they win.
Well, yeah, but it's not really his team though.
No, I know.
When you say it's someone's team, you're like primary guy. It's not really that. So it's difficult. It's really difficult.
Are they still okay? They've only played 9 games, and okay, they've played in Europe as well. I think a lot of the frustration that Manchester fans have this season is potentially the inconsistencies in lineups. Jones is top scorer in the team for them, but who's their best point guard? That's a big question that a lot of fans like. Their best guard, who is that? Is he coming off the bench every game?
Yeah, they've got a lot of high usage guys that just don't really get many assists. It's just difficult for their kind of offense.
Yeah, so let's move on to Manchester. Still, obviously, we have lots of question marks in them. Leicester, Is it Battle's team?
Yeah. I mean, let's just say that.
Do you fancy talking into your microphone, please?
Okay, sorry. Yes. Sorry. I don't know what I was doing.
Yeah. Like,
Yes.
I almost think, is Battle in that we're saying about MVPs, are we saying that Battle's in a top 5 position right now?
I mean, 67% true shooting percentage on 28% usage is ridiculous for those who don't understand. That's very good. So that's ridiculous efficiency on high volume. Okay.
That's what that means. So that's what it means.
That's
Battle's
what that
in.
means.
So if we're looking at, okay, we've said about Newcastle be Macio Jack. Surrey, again, still only played 8 games. They've another one battling injuries. Kareem Queeley looks like he's done his knee again. That's not good. You just feel so sorry for him. Drew Lawrence was he injured or was he illness? Can't remember now. Who is it that's just back for them again? They've got Kuntz has been out a lot.
He's really struggled, man. And I feel sorry for him because he's not a bad player.
He just missed a lot of games.
He's just been really unlucky.
Yeah, but is Ronald Polite probably their guy?
No.
Isaiah Small.
Well, because I mean, a team like Surrey, they don't really have the guy. Like again, as you're saying, you know, Polite's like a really like a good ball mover at the one spot. You wouldn't say he's a guy. Keano Lilly's a good scorer, I suppose. But
then is that if we combine Surrey and the Gladiators, is that the same thing? Neither of those teams have like an MVP caliber.
I mean, no
player. So when we go through that and we look at who are we saying? London obviously would have been Joel Scott. Sheffield we're saying Chapman. Bristol we're saying it's hard for Bristol on its own. So we say if we talk about individuals, are we saying the top individuals right now are Chapman, Jack, Battle, Robinson? What's that? Is that 4 names I said? Chapman, Jack, Robinson, and Battle. Because it would have been Joel Scott as well.
Yeah, I mean that's a solid 5. If you don't include any other London guys.
London guys at the moment, yeah. Because it seems to be their schedule's quite heavy in Euro Cup, so obviously we stay away from that in terms of league discussion when it comes to MVP. So are we saying that that's our 4 guys early on?
Yeah, why not?
Why not? But
why not?
You know as well, like we get, like I've emailed all the teams this season about being on mailing lists, and who do we get stuff almost daily from, Louis?
Lions
in terms of their content and sending out stuff. So obviously we got the news about Joel Scott, and the Lions seem to be the only team actively talking about available players. Like Newcastle have given some updates about injured players, about when they might return, but I think before the game last time, I think Surrey did as well in terms of saying that Kareem was out, but no knowledge of actually what is the injury. I think we've talked before as well about almost saying that's the one thing we want as a minimal standard is tell us available players. Is that fair?
Yeah, of course it's fair. Please, man.
And see, as a commentator as well, see knowing who's about to play and not spending time researching a guy that is not going to play is very, very handy. So please, what would you say the minimum is? At least do an injury report every week.
Yeah, I mean, if you've got a player out, God, yeah.
Like every Thursday, on a Thursday, every team needs to put out an injury report. It could say nobody.
I mean, at the very least, tell your commentators.
Oh
my God.
That'd be nice. That would be nice. But yeah, lots going on this week in British basketball. Quick fly through. It's recording this a bit later. I had to work longer tonight, so a shorter and quicker show. But Eagles on the up, looking really good with their shorter roster. Mervin James is back, league top scorer last season. How will Sharks integrate him? The Glads are making changes. Will we now see Johnny Bunyan unlocking the keys to success? Leicester getting the win at Cheshire is a big deal, considering how few people go to Cheshire and get the win. Are Leicester going to be the team at the end of the season to watch out for, especially when they're adding back in Mark Loving? Referee standards, please give us an update on what's happening off the court as well. We seem to get loads of information now it's dried up. An MVP. Okay. For the 4 players, Joe Scott can't count because he's now injured. Of the 4 we said, where are you ranking them so far?
Come on, man.
No, on the spot. Go on. Go.
Okay, Chapman for top, obviously. Shocker.
Said no one ever. Are you trying to base this off stats? This is such a Louis thing. He's basing it off the spreadsheet.
I mean, I do have the advanced stats up. Why have you done this?
Because
why have you done this to me?
Go on.
Okay, it's a podcast. Rayquan battle's been crazy, but I can't say that. What? Okay, I'm gonna wager that Leicester start winning, because obviously MVP, you need to actually win games.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna wager Leicester start winning more games. Rayquan battle keeps this up, vis-a-vis more important to winning. So Rayquan battle, then Pat Robinson,
and then
Macio Jack.
Okay, fair. I would go at the moment Chapman. I'd go Chapman. I think Macio Jack, Chapman Jack, Battle, Robinson. I'm basing that nothing off opinion and the fact that I think the last 2 games I commented on were Sheffield and Newcastle, so Chapman and Jack are much fresher in the brain.
Yeah, I mean, if Macio retains his form like the past couple games, defo. But as of yet, his stats aren't that great. It's kind of crazy, but
fair enough. That'll do for this week's episode of the SLB Show. I say short and sweet, still 52 minutes. Happy listening. Thank you for getting involved in the conversation. We're going to be back over, what day are we on? The 8th, according to the 8th. We're going to have a Christmas quiz coming out as well. Hopefully a good bit of fun. We're going to try and see if we can get a few people involved in that. If you've got any questions, slide in the old DMs across all social media platforms, and we will add them potentially to the mix. Louis, thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you, as always.
And yeah, we'll be back next week for another episode of SLB Show.